Hey, everybody. Welcome to Big Blend Radio's second Tuesday Vacation Station Food, Wine, and Travel Show with the International Food, Wine, and Travel Writers Association. We love it. We get to visit all these destinations virtually. Some of them we've been to, some of them we still want to go to. And today we're going to be talking about Willamette Valley in Oregon. And this is, from what we understand now, quite a big region. And Nancy and I were actually there this year during the spring. And it is beautiful. There's wineries, there's waterfalls, there's amazing food, just cool downtown districts and breweries, right, Nancy? There's a little bit
we
of
had a lot of
everything.
fun.
So we're excited to welcome Dawnielle Tehama. She is the executive director of the Willamette-Valley Visitors Association, and she's going to talk about not only what we can see and do in the region, but their sustainability practices and what's called regenerative travel. I'm going to say it right at some point. That's just a big word for me for some reason. But I encourage you to go to their website. It's Willamette-Valley.org. And for the International Food, Wine, Travel Writers Association, if you're a destination, a visitor authority, a travel writer, check it out. Go to ifwtwa.org. And if you're a winery, you may want to check them out too. But welcome, Dawnielle. It's so good to have you on the show.
Thank you, Nancy and Lisa. It's great to be here and talking to everyone today.
Well, reading your bio, you definitely share a lot of common interests with Nancy and I, and that has to do with parks and public lands. I know you've been in our home base is Tucson, Arizona. It's a storage unit. We travel full time as, documenting parks and public lands. And it seems like your back door literally is a lot of land, but it's got to have some kind of balance. With so many wineries, you were saying, how many wineries in Willamette Valley?
So collectively, if we're talking wineries, cideries, breweries, distilleries, and meaderies, it's over 700 locations in the Willamette Valley. So there really is something here for everyone, especially if you're a foodie, if you're a food traveler into culinary, into beverages. We have something for everyone. We even have a moonshinery. So we are unique.
Wait.
Listen, a minute.
Right now we're recording this in Asheville and we're going to be in Tennessee. I'm just saying, we like shineries. So we'll have to come check that out on our next travel over. But there's got to be a balance between it all. And does the nature do that? I mean, also you got to think about protecting it. Is that part of, I know there's transformative. We want to go in an area that changes us, but we also don't want to change the place in a negative way. So regenerative, tell us a little bit about that and how that brings even balance in.
Yeah, so each of the 4 seasons in the Willamette Valley creates a different experience for our farms and our tasting rooms and our destination. And around the Willamette Valley, you'll see these things change and evolve through the seasonality. So sustainable travel is something people are more familiar with. And with that, you aim to travel with a light environmental footprint, and you're really looking to support local communities and protect culture and heritage. Regenerative travel and tourism aims to restore our planet and our destination, and really represents a sustainable way of traveling and discovering new places. So the goal is for visitors to have a positive impact on their destination and leaving it in a better condition than they found it.
Wow.
Cool.
So,
Nice. I like
that
it.
means that you start even getting into volunteering and having those kind of experiences, right? Like you may go in and help a park, take out invasive species or something.
Yeah. So the term that was coined is voluntourism, and a lot of people in the Americas have not really fully embraced that, but it's very popular overseas, especially in European countries. You see that. So really, Willamette Valley is a leader in the regenerative tourism field. We feel we're a little biased. The region's partnering with organizations to make regenerative tourism opportunities for travelers that are designed to improve host traveler community and environmental well-being. So we're looking at helping the destination, the community itself, and the people who live there flourish. And again, we see destinations worldwide adapting to those new norms. And the reason for that is the need for change in tourism. We want to make sure that we're protecting the things that we love. And so one of the biggest projects that we're working on right now is the Mackenzie Regenerative-Travel project. I'm not sure if you guys visited the Mackenzie River corridor when you were in the Willamette Valley, but it's on the eastern side of the valley, and communities along the Mackenzie corridor are working together to create trips for vacationers that focus on ecotourism and adventure. So it's really an interesting take on tourism because it allows you to really put your boots on the ground. You're experiencing relaxation, you're experiencing the destination, but then you're also giving back and leaving a bit of yourself at the destination level. So
nice.
we're excited about it.
That.
I love this
Yeah,
because
that sounds
I
awesome.
I also want to go back to where Willamette Valley is because it's so big. But I wanted to just touch on this being that, we've got into a lot of communities where tourism is necessary for the community to survive, and the tourism dollar stretches all the way. A lot of times locals may not realize that the tourism dollar is actually funding their kids going to school. Like that's how far, that dollar goes. But it could be, no, we don't want to be Disneyland. So there's oftentimes a negative look at what tourism is, especially in small agricultural communities that, it's like, we don't want none of those people here. We're peaceful on our property as they should be. So I think what you guys are doing with this regenerative travel, I'll get there. It's for some reason today it's going to get me, but it really kind of steps in and says, hey, here's this other way of doing it, that people are actually going to help in the area versus not helping and doing the negatives.
Yeah, so just to kind of reiterate the size of the valley, so it's over 110 miles of river valley, obviously in Oregon, from just south of Eugene in the Cottage Grove area up into Wilsonville is the area that we oversee, and we partner with our local destinations. And again, the crest of the Cascade Range on the east side to the crest of the Coast Range on the west, encompassing University of Washington, Oregon State University, Willamette University. So we've got a lot of population here, but we have a lot of rurals, right? So we have that rural and urban divide that we're dealing with on a daily basis. So when we're talking about tourism, yes, sometimes people say, oh, tourism, and they think of a 65 passenger coach bus.
Right.
But what we're focused on is the slow tourism. We're focused on coming in and enjoying a community and actually being mindful of the destination when you visit. Part of that goes back to education. So we're talking about what to expect when you get here, how to interact with the communities, how to appreciate the culture. And that goes back to agriculture and agritourism, right? So we have farms and destinations. You can stay at a farm and you can wake up in the morning and have coffee with the local donkey and, go out and feed the chickens, and, farm tours are always optional.
I'm in.
I like that.
I'm in.
But that, we're working with those people, those families that really rely on tourism to highlight what they do, whether it's woolen mills or if they're, apple farmers or hazelnut farmers. You can do hazelnut tours, you can do winery tours. These are all parts of our agriculture and what we say is agritourism, right? So the agriculture tourism, people want to know where their food comes from. And in the valley, you can actually come in, visit a farm, get taught how to cook the wares by people at that farm in certain locations around the valley. And then in the evening, if you take a cooking class during the day, you can have a farm to table dinner at one of our many locally owned restaurants in the evening. Again, stay at a local B&B or a local hotel, or we've got the Vintage Trailer Resort here too. So we've got a lot of opportunities to stay and really embrace what tourism is at the local, slow, eco-focused level.
And then when you talk about agriculture, this is what I find to be very important too, is you're talking about smaller farms, so more diversity, which means more biodiversity, which is better for the land than huge monocrops coming, you know what I mean? Big farming that really there's water issues depending on where you are in the country, before everybody attacks me, but it's true. There's different things, and farmers really, and I need to say this, farmers are not sitting there going, oh, I'm going to suck up all the water. They are very water conscious and things like that. But it's really, if you can have that blend of different, you're saying hazelnuts, then there's, wine, there's hops, there's berries. Listen, if you want berries, like in jams and Oregon's got it. So and roses, right? Salem. I got to think Salem, your capital city. Isn't that part of Willamette Valley or just a little near it?
I'm actually sitting in Salem right now.
Oh, we love Salem.
Well,
We
there you
went and
go.
had beer
Cool.
there with our friend. In
Mhm.
fact, you know what? At the end of this interview, we're going to play John Durant's song. He's a really well-known guitarist who does cloud guitar. He's incredible. And we went and had a beer with him in Salem while we were in Oregon because we had to finally meet him. So we'll play his song Willamette Fog. So we'll do that at the end of the segment here. But it to me, it's having that that diversity. So it's not just here's only one crop. And people understanding, hazelnuts. I remember seeing that when we were there going, I didn't know
Mhm.
hazelnuts came from here. I thought they were all
Yeah.
came from South America with Brazil nuts. What do I know? But,
We're also the largest producer of blackberries in the country.
See?
We've got a different crop every month of the year.
That's
So
amazing.
whether you're talking, colorful spring dotting across the valley with tulips and bulbs, or the growing season, which is, our apples, our peaches, everything you'd find vegetable-wise at a farmer's market. And then in the fall, we have our pumpkin patches, and that's when our apple orchards are really prime, our hazelnuts, and everything gearing up to, harvest season. Winter brings us a little bit of a slower pace, but Christmas trees are a crop. And then we dive into truffle season. So January, we start celebrating Oregon truffles, and we have amazing truffles here, and we have a truffle festival that kicks off the first part of the calendar year, and we look at workshops and special menus and truffle hunts across the valley. So there really is something to embrace every month of the year. And getting, I want to touch on something you said though, and you're talking about environmentally friendly practices, and what we're doing as an agency is trying to elevate those people who are really boots on the ground and taking care of our location. And that's, employing those environmentally friendly practices and helping to conserve that biodiversity. We have wineries here who have set aside, tens of acres just to have a green belt on their property for the biodiversity of the location.
Wow.
They're preserving that. So you have black oak, at the top of a vineyard, and it just adds to that, right? And it protects our location, and getting back to respecting the culture of host communities. We've got a Latin brewer, Chicha Brewing, here in Salem. So you talk about breweries, and we're really privileged to have this Latin American family doing, and they have amazing margaritas too. They do their own fruit presses
We're
for their
coming.
margaritas.
Yep. This sounded good.
It's getting better and better.
That's a huge part of our culture here is that
Sure.
that agriculture impact of where our Oregon's culture comes from, right? So, and and going back to indigenous communities too, we're home to several tribes in the state. Oregon is home to 9 federally recognized tribes. So we have that tribal culture that comes into the valley as well, that we really celebrate the diversity, and then providing tangible social and economic benefits for those local communities. Getting back to how tourism, if you come into an area and you're only shopping at big box stores, you're not helping that small farm or that small B&B or the farm to table restaurant that has amazing culinary, send their kids to school, right? So we're trying to help instill in the traveler to come and experience something that maybe it's a little more risky than what they're typically used to doing, but we encourage them to come in and really become part of us, and take a little bit of us back with them and leave a little bit of themselves here.
I love that.
Yeah.
Just even when you think about farmers, restaurants, I mean, I think during COVID, the main lockdowns, and we started really seeing what was happening to restaurants, we started to really understand that restaurants don't make that huge profit we all think, basically, right? And then if you're farm to table, what's great about that is they're supporting the farmers. And when they're small farmers, they do need to have the Airbnb on their property. They do need to open as a B&B or have food tours and cooking classes to supplement their income, because they don't have that huge factory going on as well. So we have to be part of that to get our food to be even good again. I think that's important. You want good tasting farm to table food. It's not going to come from something that's mass produced. It's just not.
Right.
Exactly.
And you're gonna show up at one of my favorite farm to table restaurants in the valley. It's the Briss. It's in Albany, And the chef will actually come by your table and explain what he's cooked for the meal that evening. And the menu does change because it's seasonal, right? You're looking at what's in season, what's prime. And I've never left hungry, and I've always taken back something for the next day. There's always leftovers because you always have plenty to eat. The desserts are amazing. Usually I save a little bit of dinner just so I can save room for dessert, but I've never been disappointed in the menu. And it's always something I get excited to see is these farm to table restaurants, how their menus shift to have the most flavorful, colorful, just inspiring dishes you could ever imagine seeing. And then to have the wine complement, because we've got amazing winemakers in the Valley, and we're so blessed to have such amazing makers and producers here.
Well, we went to McMinnville. We were in Albany, and we didn't get to do much in Albany, but we did save a little baby blue jay that got attacked by a cat. So I want to give a shout out to Tintimony. There's an amazing they rescue wildlife, and they're very cool. And we ended up interviewing them and everything. And it was just they were kind of our introduction to Albany. And I saw that there was the carousel out there. And then from there we did go to Salem and saw the Capitol and the roses and local brews.
It's a beautiful area.
And then we were on our way to go to California. And we thought, oh yeah, there's this other bed and breakfast, because we've been covering a lot of bed and breakfasts, especially during the pandemic, because it was something really important. These are people with their homes that this is their home business, And so we wanted to do a lot of spotlighting on these bed and breakfasts, and they take extra care when it comes to, your safety. And we went to stay at a Tuscan Estate bed and breakfast in McMinnville. And we arrived there, and so we went up to go down just because, and it was so beautiful. The drive through, I mean, the setting is incredible with the farmlands, the vineyards, the barns. I want to go and just do a photography book on the barns of Oregon, but it was incredible. We arrived there and, checked into the inn, and she's like, oh no, here, you got to go have wine. Cause my friends all like, if you don't have wine there, we're like, well, yeah. And we took the wrong turn. It started to get a little rain, and we ended up at the Growler station. I think it's a brewery station, sampling beer from Oregon. So there was all these Oregon beers. Everybody's going, no, you need to try this. You need to try that. Everyone's super cool. And then the next morning we had breakfast, all locally made. It was amazing. We filmed a video, so everyone will get to see that soon. And we walked downtown McMinnville, and it was really, I think, one of the coolest downtowns we've been to on our tour across the country. And we've been, this year, 4 times across the country, and we've seen a lot of downtowns. But there was public art with messaging. It wasn't just, here's a pretty picture. There was public art with actual messaging that was positive. It was community. There was a grocery store in the downtown that with organic fruits and vegetables, there was a quilt store that's been there for years. I mean, I just couldn't believe the Boersma's quilt store, I think it is. And,
the quilt store right there on the corner.
I had to send photos because we have friends in the Netherlands and Holland with their last name, and I was sending him photos. He's like, "You've got to be kidding me!" That I'm like, "Dude, they're going to be related. They've got a little windmill, know? But they've got a beautiful public park. I mean, it was just there was this absolute sense of just quality of life, and people actually stopped when you're trying to cross the road. They're like, don't worry, you cross over, you're taking photos, go across the street, we're not going to drive over you. I mean, it was this, I'm like, people are friendly,
relaxed.
Oh my gosh, we could just breathe in this beautiful air. Then we went and had wine at Maysara. Let me go to my notes. Maysara Winery. Yeah. Oh man, incredible wine, of course, Pinot Noir. Sit outside the gardens watching squirrels and birds. They seem to be very connected with nature. And then we got to the coast and did the coast all the way down. It was one of the most awesome. Magical, not even 48 hours. I was like, how did it go by so fast? We're coming back. That's for sure.
Well, we'd love to have you come back and visit. We really we really appreciate getting feedback like that, because we tell people, you might come and visit, but you'll want to come back. It won't be your first
Oh
time.
my gosh. Yeah.
You mentioned the carousels. We actually have 2 historic carousels in the Willamette Valley. The one you visited, it's over 100 years old, in Albany. And we love being able to go and take a tour. You can actually meet the carvers who are restoring or carving the new seats for the carousel there. We have another one in Salem, so it's within walking distance of the Capitol, really, from where our building is. It's down near the water. And then you mentioned downtown. So there are historic downtown, walkable downtowns, eatable, drinkable downtowns, all up and down the valley. And that's one thing that we really love about our location, our place, and our sense of community is how much the people that live here in the Willamette Valley love gathering and love supporting their downtowns, and really love making sure that we have historic downtowns preserved. And so there, it goes back to culture and heritage and history of a place. And that goes back to the sustainability and what we're trying to accomplish with that partnership is making sure that these things remain, because there's a nostalgic feeling when you walk downtown. I love McMinnville's downtown 3rd Street.
Oh, Benjamin Franklin is there.
Sitting on the corner.
Yeah.
Yep. My mom and my sisters, I have family that live in McMinnville. And so I'm up there quite often. And as you know, the quilt store, I love seeing their seasonal quilts that go up in the window. But those are things that, you just feel like you belong, right? You just, you're welcomed in, and you just feel like there's a slower pace to life in the valley, and more welcoming for sure.
It's very relaxing, and everybody is friendly, and they've managed to keep in the downtowns their own personality. And I think that's really important. I mean, as travelers, the last thing we want to do is travel to place after place after place and go, it was all the same. Because then why would you bother to travel?
Exactly.
You really want that personal experience, and you want to see you want to see the small businesses doing what they have dedicated their lives to, and do it well, and be successful, and see that the community supports it. It's really important for travelers to get that feel of comfort, and that this is a community and the people work together for everybody, not just themselves. And I think that is when you get into a town and you're walking a downtown and people are friendly, that comes from that kind of working together. It doesn't come from the big, I'm gonna get in trouble, the big corporate, let's take over this small company, let's buy that company over there out, let's just be this big impersonal machine. That is boring.
Yeah, it is boring.
It's boring.
Well, McMinnville, like
boring.
when you were in McMinnville, it was, to me, what was great is it was like there was tourism, but it was also living and working. So it was like a real downtown, like our old school days. And so you had the sense of place, and you could imagine what it was like, 50, 70, maybe 100 years ago. Has the old theater. I mean, it just had that. You could go to the market, and then you go around the corner and there's lawyers' offices, there's the police department. I'm like, wait, didn't do it. But I mean, it had the library. I mean, it was all and all walkable. And listen, the gardens in your area are out of this world.
Amazing.
I could live in Oregon just to grow things, just for flower power. I'm serious. I mean, come to your area just to have a garden.
Yes. Yeah. Like I said, there's something every month, whether it's, I will take my mom flower picking almost all year, whether it's gladiolas or dahlias or tulips, or, we can go and find something that's blooming the majority of the year. Winter slows down a little bit, but like I said, Christmas trees come in, and, there's a whole bunch of things you can do around seasonality in the winter that are just beautiful. So, but getting back to, the location, the destination, walkable downtowns, and you've mentioned, growing season a couple times. And I don't know if we've talked really about our food and farm trails and food and farm loops yet. And that's another thing that's really unique to to Oregon in general, but the Willamette Valley, we actually have 7 food trails, farm loops,
Wow.
all over the valley. We just
That's
added a 3rd food trail, the Mid Willamette Valley Food Trail, and these are already thriving communities and thriving farms. But what we've done then is we've kind of packaged them into an itinerary, so you can jump on our website and see kind of if you want a self-guided tour to, you know, what to do, where to eat, what to visit, and really, because agritourism is really reigns supreme in the valley. So those food and farm trails and food and farm loops. We even have one that's just north of us that we partner with Clackamas area on, that's called the Fruit Loop. So, you know, if you want to hit all things fruit,
That's fun.
but, you know, so we have a lot of really unique ways to come and experience what we have here.
That is cool. And the fruit, yeah. You know, it was
Mm.
interesting because when we came into your area, we went through Willamette National Forest, and we went from Sun River Bend area and down this mountain pass, and all of a sudden it was this magical snow, and it's like, what? It's May. No, we're snowing. And it was like a magic. It was magical. It was just so pretty. And then all of a sudden you go around the corner and that part's gone, and you're hiking in a forest and it's fine, you know, and it's like, what's going on here? And then you go around the corner and there's this beautiful lake and the sun is shining. I'm like, what? what?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
In like within 2 hours, like, you know, this diversity of just nature, and I want to go do the food tours and the fruit.
Yeah.
I like the fruit
sure.
loop. That's cool.
Yeah.
Do you know that Fruit Loops all are the same flavor? They're just different colors, and people just have their. Do you
Don't
know
get
that?
it?
I've heard that, and I have not bought a box just to try it.
I haven't tried it either. So I got to watch what I say, because I say stuff, and then like the other day found out Jimmy Buffett and Warren Buffett are not related. So I got to watch what I say. So I could be wrong about the Fruit Loops, but I haven't eaten one since I was a kid. I don't want to.
Yeah, that's why
I'll
I
come on your
haven't,
Fruit Loop trail, because
yeah.
to me, that's a little bit more my style. Yeah, it's some, you know, serotonin, a lot of berries in, and then like, oh my gosh, the, you know, hazelnuts. So the trees have got to be beautiful in
They
spring,
are.
right? Oh,
Yes, when we start seeing those, you know, the leaves start to break out on the branches, and that beautiful spring green, and then when
Nice.
the trees are fully leafed, and all the hazelnut fields, you just drive down the road and you just have rows and rows of sun beaming through these magnificent trees. And it's
oh
just,
my
you
gosh.
know, it's just so magical. I
Nice.
mean, I love being here. I am so privileged to
Mm.
be where I am. And but you know, getting back to berries, it's also my favorite thing to go, and you know, we pick blueberries. I have 2 teenage girls, and thankfully they still like to go berry picking with me. But we will go, and on the weekends we'll go and pick, you know, 20 pounds of blueberries in an hour.
Seriously.
And yeah,
Blueberry pie coming up.
I know.
Blueberry
I know.
pies, blueberry muffins.
Martinis. Oh, I went into martini land, you know. So you've got all these, yeah, the berries. I mean, this is magical. I remember the first time we went to Salem, it was got to be about 20 years ago. And we drove from Salem straight to the coast and went through the forest, and there was just all these flowers and deer. And I was looking at
It's
Nancy going,
amazing.
this is something like, you know, you
Mhm.
think you're in the woods, you know, from those books like with Merlin and, you know, Robin Hood, you know, like they're gonna come out, and little fairies, you're gonna come out. Like, I'm like, we're
Okay.
imagine- well, I think that's what every time I think of Oregon, and when we were just there, I mean, really recent, I'm like, this is magic. And I think
Mm.
that's the name for your areas. Magical. It's magic
Magical.
land. It
it
is.
is. I completely agree. There's times when
Mm.
I'll be out hiking and you just come
Oh,
across an
man.
area that just doesn't seem, it's surreal, right?
Yeah.
You're not quite sure if you're living in some book, and you're not quite sure if a leprechaun's going to come around the corner, or some
I
unicorn's
want to
going
meet the
to
leprechaun. I want to meet the leprechaun.
We want leprechauns and fairies.
Yes, and fairies. I do. Yeah, and Peter Pan.
Yeah.
We're all in
Yes.
that zone. So I know we're gonna drive through Oregon in February, and then we're gonna be all up and down and all around between February and then up and down again. And I think April. It's just the way we roll. So what is it like in Willamette Valley in February?
So in February, to be completely honest, you do want to bring layers because you're not quite sure, like you mentioned, if you don't like the weather, just wait 10 minutes. But chances are you're going to have a little bit of chilly weather and some rain, but without that rain, we wouldn't have the bountiful valley we do have.
Right.
So depending on where in the valley you are, it's probably going to be, 40s to mid 50s as a high. We do get chilly in the evenings. We don't snow though very often, and when we do, it doesn't really stay because we're a river valley. But you're definitely going to see some fantastic, inspiring foggy mornings as you sip your tea, your coffee, and watch that sun come up. And you will have some clear days. It'll be overcast, but it's perfect for hiking. Right. So when you come through, you've mentioned the coast a couple of times. You also mentioned the Willamette National Forest. For those that are listening that might be coming before the end of the year, we do have our ornament hunts going on right now in the Willamette National Forest and up through Umpqua. So you can actually hike a trail and find a Willamette Valley ornament and enter to win prizes. We do that every year to kind of encourage outdoor recreation. But you've mentioned the coast, and we really try to encourage people to visit the Corvallis to Sea, or it's called Sea to Sea Trail. It's an actual trail that you can go from Corvallis in mid Willamette Valley all the way to the coast. And so those are just unique experiences throughout the valley. Agritourism, like I said, is reigns premier, but outdoor recreation reigns supreme here. So we also offer world-class kayaking and stand-up paddling on the Willamette River, hiking to waterfalls, even in the winter. Sometimes you can get some magnificent views at some of our waterfalls. We have 20 to 50 waterfalls in the state of Oregon, just in the Willamette Valley. One trail alone has the 10 falls you can visit. Some of them you can actually hike behind. So definitely bring your rain gear if you're coming in February. Be mindful that it might be a little slick on some of the trails that you visit. But always, you're welcome to jump on our website and get updates, or we're happy to steer you in the right direction. But check the weather, bring layers, because sometimes, like, it's sunny and beautiful today outside, it's going to be warm in the sun and cool in the shade.
Sure, I know. We're in the mountains too. Right now, we're in North Carolina in the mountains. We know exactly the weather you're talking about. It's like but to me, you need all those forms, because that's again what, we want wine, we want berries and fruit and hazelnuts to all happen. And we want we want rainfall for the rivers. That's super important. The last thing that's so important, you're going to have wine and berries, beer. What about cheese? Do you have cheese?
Oh my goodness.
We have to talk about cheese.
Quite a few creameries. We have creameries here in Salem. My favorite creamery is TMK. It's in North Valley. And you can actually go meet their cow-lebrities. They're not celebrities, they are cow-lebrities. So you can actually go and visit the cows. They're pampered cows. It's one of my girls' favorite places to visit, because you can actually go in to the barn and see the babies and actually interact with the babies. The milking cows, actually, you can tell that they're very pampered and they're very sassy. But you can also have single cow cheese. So TMK, I saw the eyebrows raised. Usually you get cheese and it's a mixture of several cows, but TMK has actually taken the time and the effort to have a single cow's milk produced cheese in their single cow cheese, and they've gone a step further.
That's rare.
Yes, it is.
Wow.
It is rare. Their dill cheddar is amazing. It's one of my favorite.
Did you say dill? Like
dill? Yeah.
Seriously.
It is my favorite,
good.
especially this time of year.
Okay, we only have like 1.5 months.
So another thing to keep on your radar for TMK when you go, and Tess and her family, she's one of the owners, and their family creamery. They've taken it a step further. They do single cow vodka. So they do a vodka with their whey. So the nursery rhyme with curds and whey, right? So they actually take the byproduct, and that's again talking about sustainability and no waste, and they actually produce a vodka on their creamery.
That's regenerative.
So, wow.
Yes, it is. And so you'll find stories like that throughout
Who would
the valley.
think of that?
That's
They
cool.
would.
That up. Yeah.
That
Wow.
is super, super way
That's
cool.
cool.
Like, you know what I mean? You can have your cow and drink it too.
So way cool. That was not a play on words, was it, Lisa? That was way cool with the curds and whey. And
Yes, I know.
cheese.
I know. Because eventually I will
Way
be able to
cool.
say regenerative.
Yeah. But I think it's way cool.
Yes. Yeah.
Way
Oh my gosh.
No, the cheese though definitely goes with the wine. A February visit, you're more than
Yeah.
likely to find the winemakers in the tasting rooms because harvest is over. It is cellar
Right.
season still. So yeah, you're bound to have just an amazing time when you come back and visit in February.
Awesome. And for
Cool.
folks, planning their vacations for 2022, put Willamette on your list because this is
Absolutely.
definitely, I mean, our experience, I couldn't believe it. I was just like, we got to come back. We can't just do this twirl around. What do you mean?
Mhm.
So
Yeah, we
it just,
we needed more
yeah.
time.
And the
We really did need
nature,
more
the
time.
nature out there, that to
Mhm.
me is just all the birds. And when we went to Chimney, just really
Mm.
learning about all the different owls that you have and the different, I mean, just amazing, the raptors
Mm.
and, all the different birds,
Yeah.
bird life that you
Yeah.
have. So incredible. So thank you so much for joining us. I'm now hungry and
Mhm.
I'm thirsty. So I want to have the vodka and put the blueberries in it with a side plate of cheese, right?
I know.
And
Cheese
go
and
on a hike.
vodka.
But it has to be on a hike. To us, we always take wine on our hikes with us. You get to a
Mhm.
magnificent view. Look at the view you have,
Yes.
Isn't
Yeah.
that
That's in South
beautiful?
Don't
Valley.
you want to have a glass of wine or a beer and cheese and, whey?
And don't forget when you're out hiking, do make sure that you're picking up the canned wine from our different wineries. Our various wineries do offer
No
wine in
way.
cans so that you don't have to
Mm.
worry about breaking any bottles on your hike. So
No
do keep
bottles.
that in mind.
Yeah,
Awesome.
we have wine pouches. Wait, well, when
Even
we meet
better.
you, I'll show you. I'll show you. We're practiced, and there is no breaking of glass. There is no
No
littering,
glass at all.
and that's the thing too. Is taking litter when you do see litter on a trail. It's one thing we can do
Mm.
is remove it, and no
Right.
orange peels. Stop it with orange peels on the trail. No, not allowed. They're disgusting. Oranges are delicious, but they do not belong on the trail with their peel. They do not want to go away. They're like cigarette butts. So anyway,
Yeah.
thank you so much.
Okay.
It's been a real
Thank you
pleasure
guys.
connecting with you. Everyone, again, go to Willamette-Valley-Oregon. And for the International Food, Wine, Travel Writers Association, we love doing our shows with them. Every second Tuesday is when we talk about the destinations. Every second Friday, we chat with writers about the places they've been to and all just their writing careers, which is it's pretty extraordinary, the conversations we have. So the website for that is ifwtwa.org. Of course, keep up with us at bigblendradio.com. We air daily except for holiday weekends and a major holiday time frame. So we're going to close with Willamette Fog by John Durant and an amazing guitarist. We got to play the song now. You talked
Yeah.
about fog and tea and coffee.
Mhm.
I think he's a fog and beer and good craft beer, but who knows? He's got good taste. Trust me, he
Yes.
knows how to cook and do all kinds of things. So here it is, Willamette Fog. Thank you so much.
Thank you.